Hey guys, I'm constantly running out of content, so if you want me to do a video on something in particular, just let me know in the comment section below, and I will highly consider doing a video for you. Today's video, we are going to consider whether or not you have what it takes to be a private investigator who is assigned to a federal case. So, the way it works in the government system is sometimes they subcontract or they contract out to licensed private investigation agencies because perhaps there's either a high workload, the current investigators are being overworked and there's no time for any new cases, or number two, there's some type of conflict of interest. So in the video I'm going to show you momentarily is a video that was featured by Project Veritas. They are an investigative reportive agency. It's journalism, investigative journalism. Those of you who are investigative journalists, you might not know this, but in the last 2 years, the state of California has allowed you to use your investigative journalism experience to qualify as a private investigator. Now, it has to be that your experience has to be compensated. So you have to be compensated for your journalism efforts, and they have to be investigative. That's something new in the state of California. As for other states, I don't know. I don't have an answer as to whether or not investigative journalism will qualify you for the private investigator license. So whether or not you like this Project Veritas video, the intent of this video is to put you into the mindset of a private investigator assigned to a federal contract. It's not necessarily to sway you in a right direction of whether or not President Trump was rightfully not voted in as the next president for 2021. That has nothing to do with it. It is more of the context, the investigative mindset, the knowledge base that you need in order to perform work as a federal investigator under the authority that you have a private investigator license. So let's watch the video.
Then, if we were hypothetically, yeah, where can I find a handful of them?
I don't know, man. Hey, I'm almost finished with the boxes today.
All right, brother.
Hey, not a problem, man. I'm gonna see if I can get you some like a little nice little handful.
Oh,
what's your unit number?
You're gonna get a handful?
What's your unit?
Now that you're done watching the video, how many of you mentioned Garrity warning or Garrity versus New Jersey? How many of you mentioned a Calcline's admonishment or Calcline's warning? Now, Calcline's warning is another term for Garrity warning, same law. Garrity versus New Jersey is a U.S. Supreme Court decision that was made in the late 70s. And what you must do is this. When you are investigating a public employee, it could be federal, state, county, you have to let this person know that you're doing an investigation. And the reason for the investigation is there could be some type of discipline that can result as a result of your findings. You have to also let them know that this case will not be turned over to criminal investigators. So this is strictly a civil investigation that can result in disciplinary matters. This person has to be known that if they refuse to speak to you, they can be terminated. They could be fired from the job. As for the results or any statements being turned over to those that want to prosecute you for a criminal offense, this admonishment prevents that from happening. Okay. Into your interrogation, you're going to probably read on the Miranda rights as well. And if they waive their rights, they waive their Miranda rights, which many of them don't, then the facts that are found in this investigation and the outcome can definitely be turned into a criminal investigation. The facts can be turned over to criminal investigators. Did any of you know this? If you don't worry about it. Information that's similar to this and information that is this, like this, is in my book, The California Legal Investigator. It is available on Amazon.com. And I talk about legal investigations, I talk about interrogations, and the applicable laws that you have to navigate through in order to do a successful and legal investigation in the workplace. On another note, some of you might be wondering, what type of criminal offense did this postal employee commit? Now, I want to make it clear to you that I am a diehard Trump supporter. I voted for him in this election, and I voted for him in the last election. I am a conservative. Let me clear that from the air here. On another note, as a private investigator, I have to remain indifferent. I have to remain neutral. And watching the video, earlier there's a discussion between the investigative reporter and the postal employee about ballots. So when they talk about things being placed in mailboxes or objects, or those things, objects, the context is ballots, okay? As for if there is some type of voting fraud, in my opinion, I don't think that there was voting fraud based on this video. I don't think he could be charged with some type of conspiracy or voting fraud, because in most cases you have to prove that the act was already accomplished. Now, some of you might be talking about attempted voting fraud. Well, most prosecutors will not push a case forward on their desk unless there's a more of an overt act other than just a discussion. See, if you want to push a conspiracy theory, that's two or more people that agree to commit a criminal offense. You have the reporter, and then you have the other person who's the suspect, the postal inspector. Good argument was, well, there wasn't two or more people. You just have an investigative reporter that was not acting on behalf of the government. Now, maybe an attempted conspiracy to commit voting fraud, but there was just a discussion. This postal employee did not make that overt act yet, okay? Now, had we had some footage or evidence that this person grabbed the ballot that was not assigned to the investigative reporter and put it in his box, I think you have more of an overt act, but I don't think that there was a criminal offense. And if there was, I don't think any prosecutor is going to push this forward. I think what you do have is a violation of policy. Okay, there might be some type of violation of policy. That would be the allegations, and we need to investigate whether or not this person in the past, this postal employee in the past, has placed ballot boxes in the possessions of other people that were not legally entitled to that ballot. That would be the only theory that I'm aware of that would push this incident into a criminal case, but I don't see that going on. I wish that there was enough evidence to overturn the election results, and obviously they're not in yet, but I don't think Trump is going to win. Even after an appeal, it's going to be difficult to prove the matter of law. But I'm hoping we can get this past the courts and Trump will win. That is just my hopes. Okay. Now, again, as a private investigator, I got to remain neutral. On another note, some of you might be wondering, hey, I like to do these types of federal investigations. How do I get in? Well, the federal government and other government organizations, they might write into the contract that you have to have experience as a federal officer, federal agent, a state investigator, a city or county investigator, any type of government investigator. You have to have the direct experience before you engage in these types of investigations, before they accept the contract, the agreement with you. What you can always do is kind of like a ride-along. If you don't have the experience, you might be able to sit in on these investigations and these interviews and help out the primary investigator who has that experience. Of course, you have to be compensated for your time and experience. So you can justify to the government, any type of government agency, in 2 or 3 years from now, that you do have that experience conducting interrogations on public employees. Okay, hope this video helps. If you guys have any comments, I'd like to know what you think the results of this investigation are going to be. When I mean this investigation, I mean voting fraud, number one. Is there voting fraud? Do you think there's voting fraud? Do you think that a prosecutor has a likelihood of proving voting fraud? And number two, do you think that the decision to elect President or future President Joe Biden is going to prevail? Let me know your comments. If you have any suggestions on future videos, please comment below. If you like this video, please like it. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for future updates. Thank you very much.